Thank you, the chairperson, the secretary, two competing parts, plus you, the audience. In front of you is Safa Mohammed from Form 2, and I'm proudly raised to propose the motion which is already stated. Torture is justified when used for national security. Before, let me explain the keywords. Torture is inflicting pain or pressure to get information from someone, especially suspect. Justified is having a good or acceptable reason for doing something. National security, the protection of a country and its citizens from threats like terrorism or attacks. In today's world, nations face serious threats from terrorism, espionage, and violent attacks. In such expectational circumstances, the use of torture becomes a necessary evil, not out of cruelty, but out of the urgent need to protect innocent lives. When time is running and thousands of people's lives are in danger, government must have every possible tool to defend their people. Torture, when used responsibly, lawfully, and only as a last resort, can be the key to stopping disaster before it happens. That's why I strongly support torture can be justified in the interest of national security and public safety. Now let me highlight my points. Point number 1, protecting lives over personal rights. Point number 2, terrorists don't play by the rules. Point number 3, torture is a tool for archers. Now let me explain them. Point number 1, protecting lives over personal rights. In a national security crisis such as terrorist attacks where thousands of people, of innocent lives are at risk, protecting the majority is paramount. Torture can help gather critical information quickly that saves lives. The greater good must take precedence over individual rights in extreme situations. Conclusion. In the face of deadly threats, we must do whatever it takes to protect our people. Torture through a harsh can be justified as a last resort to save innocent lives. Better to bend than to break when national security is on the line. Thank you.
Chairperson, respected judges, my worth opponents, and the audience at large. Today I don't just stand to argue, I stand to expose a crime hidden under a big word like national security, a crime called torture. And the motion asks, is torture justified when used for our national security? My answer is not just no, it's just a cry from my soul. Torture is never justified, not today, not tomorrow, not ever even. Let me give you a historical overview. Let us go back into the history, where torture has always lived in the dark. In Minium Europe, people were banned, scourged, and even crushed for crimes they didn't commit. During slavery, people were wiped and beaten to silence their voice. After 9 out of 11, powerful governments treated prisoners thinking it will make them safe, but they had failed. Some of you might ask what I mean 9 out of 11. I really mean September 11, 2001, a very sad day and serious day in the world history. The Trade Center Tower in New York was destroyed that day using the Air Force. So what did the history teach us? That pain does not bring peace, but it brings more pain. The CIA admitted that most information from treated suspects were false. So if it does not give the truth and it damages people forever, why do we still defend it? As a saying goes, those who forget the history are doomed to repeat it. So torture is never right, never fair, and never acceptable. Now let me outline my views. View number 1, torture gives false information. View number 2, torture takes away human dignity. View number 3, torture creates more enemies. Explanation. View number 1, torture gives false information. Imagine you are tied in a chair, you are beaten, and your nails are blown out. Will you tell the truth, or you are going to tell what's going to make it stop? Torture does not give answers, it gives liberation, and liberation words are not useful to the government. They may lead to wrong arrest, wrong action, or more danger. So I ask, if torture gives us lies instead of truth, how can it protect national? My second view, torture takes away human dignity. They say to fight an evil do not become evil, but torture makes us no better than the territories we climb to stop. When we tune someone guilty or we destroy them and treat them, we destroy their bodies, mind and soul. We treat them like animals, not humans. If we lose humanity in the name of protecting our country, and then what country are we even protecting? Security should protect people, but not break them down.
Good morning to the chairperson, esteemed chief judge, the secretary, timekeeper, my fellow debaters and the audience. I stand before you today to propose the motion. The motion is torture justified when used for national security? And my answer is yes. We live in a world where terrorism, cyber threats, and deadly attacks are real dangers. In such a reality, government must take a strong step to protect innocent lives and national peace. While torture may sound harsh, sometimes it becomes a necessary evil to stop great harm. With that said, allow me to present 4 solid points to support this motion. Let me highlight my points. First point, saving lives is the top priority. Second point, torture can work in emergency situations. Third point, national security is more important of individual comfort. Fourth point, fear of torture can stop future attacks. Let me explain my points. First point, saving lives is the top priority. You may ask yourself what is the job of the government? The main job of the government is to protect its people. If a terrorist has important information about planned attack, it may help us get that information quickly and stop the attack. Even it is painful for one person, it could save hundreds or thousands of lives. In conclusion, while torture is not something we support lightly, in extreme cases where the safety of an entire nation is at risk, it becomes a tool of last resort. If the choice is between protecting the rights of one dangerous individual and saving hundreds or thousands of innocent lives, the answer is clear. National security must always come first. Therefore, I strongly believe that torture is justified when used for national security. Thank you.
Thank you, the chairperson. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I firmly stand against the motion that torture is justified when used for national security. Torture is not justice, it's not safety, it's cruelty. Hurting someone even in the name of protection is a clear violation of human rights. We cannot fight evil by becoming evil to ourselves. Real security comes from intelligence, laws, and justice, not from fairness. Even in times of danger, we cannot use torture to solve problems. Before I go far, let me explain my points. My first point, hurting people can never be the right way. Torture is a bane, and a bane can never be the right way to solve problems. If we hurt others to feel safe, then we are no longer safe inside. Kindness and justice must guide us. My second point, torture can lead into a bigger violence. In Rwanda, during the genocide, torture was used to harm people just because they were Tutsi. It started with fear, but it ended in hate, pain, and the loss of over 800. It started with fear, but it ended with hate, pain, and the loss of over 800 innocent lives. This shows that when we accept torture, it can grow into a bigger violence, something that much worse, like killing people and destroying communities. We must stop the pain before it turns into a war. My third point, losing innocent people means losing our future. If we torture the wrong person, we may destroy someone's life, someone who could have helped the country. The innocent person could have been a doctor or a teacher or even a hero. When we hurt the innocent, we don't just lose one person, we lose their dreams, their love, and their light. A nation that hurts its own people cannot grow in peace. I would like to conclude by saying that, ladies and gentlemen, if we choose torture, we choose pain over peace, fear over fairness, and hate over hope. We may say it protects us, but in truth, it breaks us. It breaks hearts, families, and nations.
Let's not become the monsters we fear. Let's rise with the wisdom, because in the end, no matter how strong we are, if we lose our humanity, we have lost everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you to Jebasom, Robosas, Abosas, Balasi, the audience. Standing in front of you is Musin Elias from 2, who is proposing the motion. Is Toja justified when used for national security? My answer to that is yes. Before going for far, let me go through my points. Point number 1. Why some people think it could be justified. Point number 2, morals and ethical concerns. Point number 3, prevention of future threats. Okay, let me start. Number 1, why some people think it could be justified, that Toja could be justified. Point number 1, by saving lives. Supporters say that if using Toja can help get important information, like if you torture a criminal, or if you torture a terrorist, to give important information. For example, stopping an attack that could kill many people's life, then it might be acceptable. This is often explained with this process, the ticking time bomb, a harsh measurement used by Americans in 1899 to kill or to catch many terrorists and try to stop the evil plans or kill many lives. So a ticking time bomb idea where if there is an immediate threat, harsh measures might be needed to save lives. One example of Toja is the enhanced interrogation techniques by the U.S. government after the 11th September attacks. Some politicians and officials claim that these methods, including practices like waterboarding, help gather information. They used torturing attacks in America, where Mexico terrorists attacked America, so that they use the waterboarding. But instead, Americans catched only one terrorist and tortured them, which gave them the vital information or helped them to give the important information and the evil balance. In conclusion, or in simple terms, supporters of the motion is Toja justified when used for national security argue that in extremely rare and urgent situation, when there is an immediate threat that could harm many people, the use of Toja is never abused, is never rejected, because it is only used as the last resort, the last chance of gauging the evil plans that are for the terrorists. This debate is about balancing the need to protect many lives or with the need to uphold moral and ethical standards. Thank you, Teacher Basso.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable judges, respected opponents, and the audience. Today, I strongly oppose the motion that is torture justified when... Point. Stop. Today, I strongly oppose the motion that is torture justified when used for national security. Let me be clear, torture is never justified, not even in the name of protecting a nation. It is wrong, it is normally wrong, often ineffective, legally forbidden, and harmful to both individuals and society. These are my points that will try to prove that torture is never a good solution. First, I would like to outline my points. Torture violates human rights and dignity. Torture is a direct violation of basic human rights. It degrades, humiliates, and dehumanizes people. The UN Convention Against Torture strictly bans torture under any circumstance, war, terrorism, or national emergency. A nation that uses torture sacrifices its core value. If we fight terror with terror, how are we any better? As the saying goes, torture is a wound in the soul so deep that healing never comes, by Greta Sereni. My second point, torture is ineffective and unreliable. People under torture will say anything to stop the pain, even if it's false. That means the information gained is often useless and misleading. For example, if a person has been murdered and a leader with power in a certain community or country becomes suspicious... Can I use 1 minute? As I was saying, if a person has been murdered and a leader with power in a community or country becomes suspicious of a certain person, that leader will go to a person and start torturing him or her until that person utters out false information like saying that he or she has done the crime, even if they didn't, just because they want to stop the pain and torturing to stop. The U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee found that torture used by the CIA failed to prevent any major attacks and provided no actionable intelligence. In contrast, FBI agent Ali Soufan successfully gathered critical information using non-violent techniques. This proves that ethical methods work better.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Good morning distinguished judges, esteemed opponents, and the audience at large. My name is Anissa Mohamed Farah from the 10th grade. I categorically oppose the motion that torture is justified when used for national security. To endorse torture is to weaponize fear and abandon the moral compass of any civilized state. It's a crude tool, ethically bankrupt, strategically flawed, and dangerously dehumanizing. If we safeguard the state by shredding its values, we are not protecting it, we are dismantling it. Let me highlight my points. Point number 1, torture violates human rights and international law. Point number 2, it damages a nation's reputation. Point number 3, it encourages retaliation and violence. Now let me explain my points. Point number 1, torture violates human rights and international laws. Torture is banned under international law, including the United Nations Convention Against Torture, the UNCAT, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UDHR. No circumstances, including national security, justifies the violation of basic human dignity. Allowing torture can lead to the abuse of power, where governments may use it not only against criminals, but also against political opponents or innocent people. Upholding human rights is essential for a just and for society.
Before I say anything, I'd like to thank everyone here, those on the back, the front, everyone around. I'd like to also greet you with the Islamic greeting, Assalamu alaikum. Now, before I do anything, I'd like to begin with a case study. Imagine, I'm homeless and I have no money. I have pretty much nothing, and I get hired by a person. He tells me that if I do something for him, he will give me money. So, I take the job, and he tells me to grab as much bombs as I can and go to the nearest bank that I can find, and pretty much kill myself and kill everyone around me. Now, if I do one wrong step, he says that he's going to kill my entire family, and with one wrong step, my entire offspring and my family is gone. So what do I do? Of course, I will do what he tells me to do. So, now, the government catches me and they torture me. Now ask yourself, is that really morally correct in your ethical and moral compass? Now, besides that, I'd like to convince you all with a few points that I'd like to say. My first point, the cycle of hatred. Now, to make you understand this concept, there is something called the cycle of hatred. Now imagine the government catches a said criminal or a terrorist, they catch him, they put him to justice. Now, the opposing side, or the opposing team, whatever you'd like to call it, they will of course not be happy. Now, the government thinks that they have finally achieved peace. But really, the thing is they did not achieve peace. It's just that the interval between the moment they try to strike back and take revenge is just an illusion, because they will still strike anyways.